Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Over the past couple of days, we've actually gotten a lot of news about the future of MW2 and Warzone 2, a bit more emphasis on Warzone 2 here in specific, but of course, initially, they announced the whole delay for Season 2 just all around, and with that delay, they announced that there were going to be some major changes to Warzone gameplay in the form of the gulag, in the form of looting, and in the form of loadouts, and they've actually now gone through and detailed specifically some of the major game-changing updates that are going to be coming regarding those certain elements of gameplay, and it's pretty big stuff that's going to be changing here in Season 2, which is definitely good news. We also had another small mini update go live just after the 1.13 update that includes even more patch notes, so we've got plenty to go ahead and get into today. Let's start first with the initial details here for those game-changing updates and for these gameplay updates for Warzone 2 in Season 2. This one from back on the 19th, actually pretty standard stuff here, but obviously right now we have our 2v2 gulag. It's been controversial really since day one, and Infinity Ward has confirmed that 1v1s are back in Battle Royale. The gulag updates are coming in Season 2. We'll be sharing more details about this in next week's studio blog, but initially this does confirm that the gulag for Warzone 2 is going back to one-on-one. So you no longer have to always rely on your teammate to get a trade, or you don't have to worry about being 2-on-1 tag teamed because you went to the top of the stairs and your teammate's back in the left, you know, getting his Cheeto dust off of his fingers, right? There's no more worrying about that. It's just one-on-one fights straight up dependent on your skill individually, which personally I'm a big fan of. Not really enjoying the 2v2 gulag, so that's going to be changing. Now they do say there's going to be more details coming about this. I'm curious to see if they also change other elements of the gulag. Of course, if you remember back in Warzone 1, pretty much every single season we saw a new gulag map implemented, at least at the start of Warzone, where we cycled through a bunch of different gulag styles. Also, they were constantly changing up the gulag weapon pool from pistols and melees to shotguns and snipers to ARs and SMGs to LMGs. So I'm curious to see if potentially in Season 2 we see either of those things, either with a new map change or maybe with the ability to use some other guns besides just the couple of pistols and I think the one shotgun that we've had available up until this point. So one confirmed change here and a few others potentially that could be revealed early next week. And of course, next week when the studio blog does end up actually releasing, you guys already know I'm gonna be covering it right as it happens. So if you guys want to guarantee you're up to date with that alongside all the other news, intel updates, and everything else going on in COD, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. The majority of viewers watching are not already subscribed, so if that's you, we'd love to have you join us on the road to 1 million. Also, if you guys enjoy this video, if you're excited for these gameplay changes coming in Season 2, let me know by dropping a like on it. Let's try and aim for 2,000 likes on this one. Now, this next tweet is another super huge change coming to Warzone gameplay. They say Battle Royale, looting changes, and many more are coming with Season 2. Player eliminations and all loot containers will now pop floating loot out onto the floor. See more in next week's studio blog. So this is huge for a couple of reasons. It's going to change a lot of how the Warzone matches flow. Looting right now is obviously kind of tedious because every time you open a chest, you got to go into the sub menu and sort through. Do you want to pick up that ammo or that decoy nade or the initial gun? Every time you go into a player's loot bag, some of their loot spills out onto the floor. It's like one gun, sometimes their triple plate vest, you know, that'll spill out onto the floor. But then in their inventory, they have 19 plates, 4 self revives and 2 airstrikes alongside their primary, their secondary. Sometimes they could be stowing a third gun as well if they have that large backpack, but now instead all of that loot is going to pop out onto the floor just like back in Warzone 1. Now obviously this is what it looked like back in Warzone 1, where the loot would actually just float there and it was way easier to quickly interact with it. Now that said, I am very excited that they're going to speed up the overall looting and speed up the flow of interacting with that stuff. You don't have to go into the backpack sub menus with this per se. It's all going to be laid out on the ground in front of you. But my concern here is that this could potentially inadvertently affect floor loot like this, where potentially, you know, we could have situations where if they have a large backpack that's full of, 12 plates, 3 airstrikes, some extra ammo, 2 guns, all that spills out, and now you're fumbling through a jumble of mess on the ground because it's all stacking on top of each other. That is my major concern with this. I still think this looting system that's going to be coming in season 2 is going to be a lot more seamless and a lot better for the flow of the game than this backpack looting that we have now. But that is a concern with the floor loot. Hopefully they've learned their lesson throughout Warzone 1 and can take that knowledge into consideration and, you know, make sure that the loot is not constantly going to be piling on top of one another, so that you're fumbling through trying to pick up a self revive and you switch your weapon and then you switch to a new field upgrade and then you pick up the wrong ammo and this, that, and whatever else is in that loot mess. Hopefully that's not going to be the case here, but regardless, a huge change is coming to the looting system here. Now, curiously enough, today we actually got another new update from Infinity Ward. I won't lie, I was expecting something in regards to the loadouts, considering the previous two also had to do with their initial preview tweet of all the gameplay changes, but actually we got some surprise intel on DMZ. So they say there's going to be new missions, which we already knew about thanks to the dev call that I was a part of a while back, a new exclusion zone, so maybe an area similar to Building 21, and difficulty tuning. Prepare for DMZ's season 2 update with our deep dive blog next week. So DMZ is going to be getting some interesting gameplay updates as well with season 2. Now we have a few extra details on this. Obviously nothing like full on in depth. That'll be for next week, obviously, with this new blog that we'll be covering. But I'm really curious to find out more about an exclusion zone area. So another new potential play space. Maybe it's like the resurgence map, since we know that's coming in season 2. And then also the ability to tune for difficulty is going to be really interesting and potentially something that a lot of players really enjoy, because I've already seen a lot of comments on that as of lately. But that was also today's update. Then, as I mentioned, we also got a new mini update live later last night in Warzone as well, in Modern Warfare 2, that fixed a few things. So Infinity Ward posted a small little thread here on Twitter with some new patch notes. They say we've just released a small update that addresses a few issues. So the first update here, they fixed an issue where the playlist title for tier 1 shipment displayed incorrectly. This was just like a small glitch after the 1.13 title update went out that changed the name of tier 1 shipment. So you knew what you were playing, it just wasn't called tier 1 shipment. So they've gone through, they've changed that. Nothing too crazy with that one. This was definitely a large issue after the update yesterday. They fixed an issue where some players were kicked back to the main menu when pressing the view party button. I saw a lot of you guys commenting on yesterday's video saying, hey, every time I try and go into my party here, I'm getting kicked out. You know what's going on here? What's up with that? So they have actually fixed that and resolved that. So you won't have to worry about running into that anymore. They also, this is another pretty important one, especially for the time being, they temporarily disabled the ability to mark targets using the spotter scope while they investigate an issue. I believe this is an issue relating to marking somebody with a spotter scope, allowing that ping to stay on permanently. That was actually an issue that was addressed a bit ago, but it doesn't seem like it's fixed in full as of right now. So you'll notice if you have a spotter scope in your inventory and you're trying to use it, it is worth nothing more than a little extra clarity over long range. Now it's a bit of a telescope or some binoculars right now, right? Because it's not really going to do anything at this point. There is no spotting with it. There is no pinging with it. So that is currently completely disabled right now and will not be functioning whatsoever. So pretty useless to pick up. I wouldn't be keeping that in your inventory. I wouldn't be using that across the board, whether it's DMZ, Warzone 2, or Modern Warfare 2 either. Also, something that was not mentioned in yesterday's 1.13 patch notes or this little Twitter thread here is the fact that they, for some reason, took strongholds out of the Mini Royale playlist. Now, currently, we do have Mini Royale trios available in Warzone to play as one of the playlists for this week, but after yesterday's 1.13 title update, the strongholds are no longer available to access. Before the update, they were there just like in normal battle royale. Now, obviously, there wasn't always as many of them because it's that shrunken down zone with that smaller player count, but they were still there to get your loadouts and to you know, use those for those little UAV pings and whatnot. But now they're just completely out of the mode and there's been no communication on that. So it's the classic Warzone 2 and MW2 game of, is this a feature or is this a bug? And we just don't know as of right now. If it's intentional that they took out strongholds, maybe that's sort of prepping for resurgence gameplay, or is that an unintended glitch that happened because of the update? We'll hopefully find out some new information on that here soon. If we do, again, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. But as of right now, those are our previews that we have for the major updates coming to gameplay here in season 2, and then also the latest on the mini update that went live just yesterday as well. That is going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed, let me know by dropping a like on the video, and if you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications. That way you can always guarantee you're up to date with the latest going on in the world of Call of Duty. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.